Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah D. Smith. I am so excited to have you here today. So come on in and share. And I am super excited to have my special guest today, Mrs. Henrietta Telfair. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Coach Deborah. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, doing great. Just so glad that you had the time to come and be with us today as we
Hmm.
share. So, I believe it is better to train early rather than to fix later. So
Uh-huh.
that's what it's all about.
Yes.
My theme for this year, 2022, is it's all about actions. And it doesn't matter if it's our words, our actions, the movement of our eyes, our gestures, even our posture. Whatever we do is a part of our actions. And that says a lot to other people. And what we say to others is critical because
Yes.
life is what 10% of what happens and 90% how we react to it.
Yes.
Right. So I'm just super excited. My theme for this month, every month I have a different theme. So this month my theme is plan, learn, and navigate. So as
Like
I
it.
was thinking about that, and I thought about people always think it's so smart if they can come up with a shortcut, the easy way to do things and not
Mhm.
take the time to do things the right way,
Mhm.
put that quality in there. So I
Mhm.
thought it would be nice to talk about that. So our topic today is the madness in the method. Not the method in the madness, but the madness in the method.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Sister Henrietta, again, welcome. And can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born right here in Jacksonville, Florida. I was born the only girl and five brothers, so it was six of us. My mom, Roy, and Lily Thomas. I attended school here. Uh, all of my schooling took here until I got to college. So I went to St. Clair Evans, Northwestern Middle, William M. Raines Vikings. Yep. Graduated there from there, and I attended Hampton University, which was then Hampton Institute, and there I matriculated there and got my music education degree, and came here and I had emphasis in elementary education. So I have both my degrees in music education and elementary education, and now I serve as a reading interventionist for Duval County Schools.
Awesome stuff.
Mhm.
That is awesome. So I even learned something about you today. I thought I knew Miss Telfair.
Yeah,
Excuse
pretty
me.
much. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again. And good evening, Shonda. Brian, thank you for tuning in today. We're going to get started here with our questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, it seems to be human nature for people to find a quick and easy path. I don't care what it is. Do you believe that easy or fast is always the best method?
Well, that's a very good question, Coach Deborah. Well, look, in this world we live in today, I believe the word is RUSH, rush. It's the driving force for so many people, and I gotta have it now type of mindset. Exemplifying patience has become antiquated. To say wait almost seems to be a cuss word for so many people. So, but there are precautions and there are considerations and there are also lasting materialization that comes with the ability to wait. Now, of course, I've come up in the church for a long time, so I'm going to refer to the Bible and scriptures I've known for years now. So one of them is Hebrews 6:15, and who's one of my prime examples, and that's Abraham. And it says like this, 6:15. It says, and so after waiting patiently, Abraham received what was promised after waiting patiently. And we're not talking about a month, a year, we're talking about years.
Right.
But in his patience, he also was working towards and believing what was going to happen was going to happen. So I believe the end result is what everybody should look for. And if you want the end result to be qualitative, you want it to last long, and you want it to be fulfillment too. The long run is nope. I don't believe that the easy and the fast way is always the right way to take. No, ma'am.
Okay. And I agree with you. And especially when you talk about everybody that's rushing, it's like when you're on the road, I don't go out that much, but it's just like, you're on the highway and you're doing anywhere from 65 to 75, and somebody passed
Yeah.
you going twice as fast as you are.
Yeah.
Like, where are they going?
Yes. Yes.
And the funny thing is, most times they do that, and when you get to a light or whatever, they're sitting right there waiting. They haven't
Waiting. I've seen that. Yes. I strongly agree. Mm-hmm.
So fast is not best. And we
No.
also know that by the tortoise and the hare. That was another good example of that. Yes. Good evening, Agnes. Thank you for tuning in. All right. So for those of you who are not aware, Miss Henrietta is a songbird. And when I say a songbird, she is a songbird. You've heard the commercial, Calgon, Take Me Away. She sings, I just get taken away to another place. Especially when she sings God Is. Oh my goodness. She is a blessing in the body. She can find that purpose and she walks in it and everything. But I'm not gonna go there. All right, so but some people, they will join the choir, I want to sing. So they'll join the choir. They'll just get up there and start singing, and somebody asks them, well, what's your voice? Oh, I'm a soprano, I'm an alto. But then, so the choir director thinks, okay, well, you know what your voice is, and put them in that section. And they get ready to sing, and you go, oh my goodness, can you combine me?
Oh my goodness, yes.
So this is another example of somebody that just wants to do something. They just want to get at it the way they want to do it. They want to sing. They think they can just get up there and there's no method to it.
Mm-hmm.
But because I know you have a passion for that, can you tell us your path to singing and the level how did you get to the level you are today?
Well, I can say that my singing began very, very early as a toddler. As a matter of fact, I didn't know I could sing until a little later in years. But I'll be around the house trying to do a little melody and whatever, to the point that my brothers would get totally aggravated. Ma, tell Henrietta to be quiet. But my mom was a singer, so she wasn't as much annoyed as much as my brothers and all were. And I do have one brother that did pick up that desire to sing, and that was Charles. Charles, my youngest brother. But I come from a musical family, and my extended family. I have cousins and all now all over. That's just gifted to sing. So that I think is a that helps with the singing. Some people can be trained to sing. If they got some kind of raw talent at some point, able to hear keys and match them and what have you. Then elementary through middle school, through high school, I was always in the fine arts. And with that being chorus, the concert choir, and what have you. And I had some of the great coaches you could ever have in the city. They were magnificent. And they were passionate about music. So that passed on to me and to others who took their training. So when it comes to the pathway has been taken, like it was already carved out for me. Being in a house with a singer, my mom, and being in a family where we would sing together as well. In school constantly, in the chorus and the choir, and then the concert choir in high school. We would travel all the time. So we traveled to Hampton University. That's how I got there, Hampton Institute at the time. And we did a concert. But our choir director, Mr. Vernon Smith at that time, was it alumni from Hampton. So he said, what you all are going to do, anybody and everybody, you're going to audition. You're going to audition for a scholarship. And I was one of them and got a full 4-year ride after auditioning at Hampton University. So in that department, which was music education, like I said, along with elementary education, that's where my path began. Wherein I am Deborah. I was going to sing opera. I had a desire to sing opera. And so I had a lot of exposure to going to other universities to sing and the shows that were given. And after graduating, I did a little of that, but I also went into teaching. So that kind of shortened the experience in doing all the plays and what have you. But yeah, that's my path. I started out young and through the course of life stayed with it. And then in my adult years, it's a thing that I still love. It's just something I love.
All right, that is awesome. I love that. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you want to do something like even singing or, being in plays or what have you, you see how she took her time in that path and followed everything. It was like I've been talking about putting things in steps. You can't eat an elephant one bite at a time because it's so huge. So when it's something like singing, if you want that to be excellent, you want to use it to worship God in excellence, or whatever you want to do with that voice, you have to take the time to make it, to do it right. There's a right way to do it, to get that quality in there.
Exactly. Yes.
So
training does help no matter what field you want to go into. Find who's teaching qualitative education about it and learn. That's learning with the spirit of excellence, and you will become excellent if you actually take the time to be trained and learn whatever the craft might be.
Right. Very good. I agree. So again, if you got on late, please share this because I'm sure there's someone out there that this could assist. And good evening, Dan and Peggy. Thank you for tuning in. So, listening is an essential skill. There are many people that haven't figured that out, that that's part of communication, because it's more important to listen than it is to talk. But like I said, there are a lot of people that are not good in that area. But when I think about education, a scenario that comes to mind is like when you're getting ready to give out an exam. So you may you're getting ready to give out the exam. So you get up there and you give out the instructions, and students learn in different ways. So you're giving the instructions for a reason, but the student doesn't listen. So therefore, the results clearly show that the students weren't listening. So students sometimes feel that they don't need to follow instructions. I got this. I know what I'm doing. I don't know why they're wasting their time telling me all of that. Please explain why this isn't good and why bad outcomes may result, because you don't think you need to take the time to listen.
Yeah, very good question, Coach Deborah, because actually this afternoon I tutor kids even on Tuesdays and Thursdays after school. And a lot of times they're with me as a reading interventionist because they don't take the time to listen well. And they get in their own thinking path. They really do. But that word student, I mean, when you look at the word student, it has to be understood, and the student has to understand what a student is, and we're talking about, by definition, someone who is studying in order to enter a profession. Now, the kids that I work with are elementary, so they're not listening for a future. It's always the right here and now type of thing. And if they're playful right here and now, that's what they're going to do. They're playful. And being a student, we've mentioned this word before, is systematic. It's some things build on the other. Grade levels, curriculums, information build on one another. And if you're missing the first thing, then you're going to miss the second and the third and the fourth. So it creates gaps in their learning. So it is important. And I wish that we can say now in education that our children are really engaged, but we can't say that honestly now. It's so much time being put in getting them to focus. What is required for them to see the importance of listening and trying to paint a picture how this is going to help them with their future. All of that is a challenge these days. So I have to say that students aren't what they used to be during my day. It took a village to raise a child. It takes even more of a bigger village to raise one now. And it's a need for parent participation like never before, or the caregivers' adamacy that you must, we need that cooperation at home too, that you're going to learn this because you need this, or make it so there wouldn't be any other way that you're going to go to school and not learn and come back and you can't tell me something, that was acquired during the course of 6 hours.
Right.
Yeah, we really need participation and engagement and involvement and partnership with those who are at home to also help with the children that are in school, because they are missing information that and listen, now we're teaching children now who went out for the pandemic. So they didn't get. Now, I specifically work with third graders today. And third graders today in anybody's school are the ones that went out virtual because of the pandemic.
Mm.
So if they weren't prepared, and many of them were not, many homes were not, they didn't get that first grade basics and foundational skills.
Wow.
So now we're retracking. We're going back trying to get those first grade skills and things that they didn't get, especially if they didn't come online, or they didn't have internet, or they didn't have laptops or whatever to get that information. That now we are backtracking to build that foundational skill so that they'll be better third graders now, and that is a job. Yes. So missing information at any point is a setback. And it really do create gaps in the ability to learn.
Okay, good question. How do we get our excuse me? How do we get our community of parents involved in their children's education? And I was getting ready to say when Miss Henrietta finished that, I think this goes back to what you said earlier about rushing. So everybody is so in such a big rush now for everything. We rush to drop the kids off. We rush to pick them up. We rush and drop them off at this practice and that practice, football or dance or whatever. We don't stay. We don't watch them. We leave. We go do something. We come back. We pick them up. We get home. We feed them and they go to bed. When are you stopping to say the question you asked?
Yes.
How was school today? What did you learn? Now I am willing to bet. Now I have no way of really, finding out if I would win, but I'm willing to bet at least 65% of our kids don't get that.
Yeah.
How was your day today?
I would agree. When you look at parenting today, a lot of children appear to be raising themselves. But then we do have parents who are involved, and I have to give them their kudos. We do have not as many as we should, but we do have parents who are young and who are self-involved, who seem to handle, who I would say be poor handlers of stress, balancing their lives so that the children will come first. It's a need that. Now, in order to get some involved, we look like we've come up with all type of events and what have you. And what appears to work for parents to at least step in the building to be a part of maybe a PTA or something of that nature. Um, we celebrate the child, and they like the idea of the child being celebrated. Um, Sad to say, but realistically, when food is being offered, so with the food being offered, is opportunity also to offer academic advice or information and what have you. But we have plenty of parents who weren't good students themselves.
Mm.
So opportunity for them to feel safe in a school environment is what's needed. If the parent can revisit their childhood or toddler days or middle school or high school days and be reassured that they can become better students themselves, and I think that would help in getting them involved, even offering a laptop or something because you came and learned these skills with your child, you know, something that's needed at home that might help the parent be more proactive and active in the lives of their children, because both of them work together to get this prize for home, you know.
Right.
So in answer to Miss Bryant's question, I would think that's it. And almost, and can I say this? I said it to other teachers. Maybe it was not right to say, but I would say it today. It was an incentive that was given. And I said, it seems like the incentive that the government gave, not, I think, right here in Florida, would have been to give a scholarship to parents who made sure that their children was online when we were virtual. If you make sure your child is online and engaged and make maybe 75 to more percentage in their getting their work done, then yay, you win a scholarship, you know,
Something.
some kind of incentive that would, I guess, reach what they feel would be beneficial to them.
Right. Yeah, and that's so good because, I really did not, and it's sad on my part, but I didn't realize that there were so many families that did not have internet and computers in their homes,
Right.
until we hit this COVID, then they were started passing out this equipment because people
Yeah,
didn't have it.
exactly.
So that's a good incentive, and you would think it would be a wash. It wouldn't really cost them anything because and correct me if I'm wrong, but when students attend school, that's a basis for tax money, isn't it? They
Right.
want the students to be present in class, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got a student that's working at home, that should, you should want to be incent that as well, as you said.
Exactly. Yeah, you would need that. But even in that, Coach Deborah, they did not have enough laptops. Some had 7 children in the family home, and they only provided one computer, one laptop.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it took forever for some to even have transportation to go get what was required for internet during that time too. So it was an eye opener for a lot of people that just weren't aware, how our family situation were in a case of emergency like that. And hopefully now we'll be better prepared, but that was a sad thing, and which also contributed to the gap that we're dealing with now educationally.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Shauna. That was an excellent question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just anything that we can offer up to, give to school board members or communicate in any way. Hey, have you thought of this?
Yeah.
Because, they're not perfect, but, maybe someone will listen to something if we can
Yeah.
come up with those kind of, great, good ideas.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I believe situations come up that may help individuals gain experience or learn a lesson that will make them stronger. Because sometimes we say, well, I want to teach you this so you won't have any problems, but we cannot always teach our young people everything. Some things I think they have to go through in order to
Mhm.
learn that experience. What is your opinion about that?
Now, I agree. I totally agree, Coach, that situations do come up. But yeah, I believe unplanned situations can stretch us to places of thinking and tap us into abilities that we weren't aware of. And also raise our ability to do stuff that we never did before. Um, we like our comfort zones, that's for sure, and we don't like unexpected situations that makes us uncomfortable. So that alone, we would need to uh, uh, gain a mindset of looking at our challenges different, or looking at the unexpected differently. Um, Pretty much, it's a given that I found experiences that I had strength that I didn't know that I did not have. Thing that came unexpectedly. And I can't think of anything in particularly right now, other than my personal experience of the death of my husband, which was sudden, which is something, who would ask for that? But in that process, and then with the help of God, I have to go back, with the help of God, there was so much I learned. And when I felt fear at first, definitely didn't want to raise children by myself. And I just had Angela. She was just 2 weeks old. And the others were like in elementary. So it was like a new path, a scary path at first to take. But being that it was unexpected, I didn't invite it and what have you, I had to ask God to help me through it all. And with that help and with that was given strength, given wisdom, given knowledge, do this, do that, because I did seek for, and I had and professional help and what have you, what to do first, second, third, and last. So situations do come up. But I can promise you that if you seek the help that you need, don't take it as an isolated thing. It's just you. Whatever it is you need, there's resources all around us. Just as you right now, who can assist any young man and any young male who need guidance through this age in their lives. It's just wanting it and being so desperate about it that you go after it. Go after knowledge, and it will help you. It would help you and assist you through any situation.
Yes, it will. Yep. But a lot of times, I often say that everyone has someone that's assigned to assist you.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to go after that help. And I know people have different type personalities, so you may like shy away. Well, I'm not gonna ask. So because we know that everyone is not gonna ask, if
Mhm.
there is someone in our vicinity that we see, from time to time, maybe weekly or daily, and you can kind of tell if things are shifting or something's going on different.
Mhm.
Have a conversation with them. You don't just walk up and say, hey, what's going on? I noticed you're not looking, but just having a conversation and how are you and blah blah blah, and maybe they'll begin to talk because not only taking the fast way to do get things done, but
Mhm.
it's the whole thing with knowledge and knowing what to do, what you
Mhm.
shouldn't do,
Right.
and this whole thing with our mental health. So we have to
Yeah.
be very, very alert to watch our loved ones, our neighbors, anyone we come in contact with, that they're acting a little different. Something's
Mhm.
like a little off. Let
Right.
me call them up. Let me text them. How are you today or whatever? Because sometimes, I know people are leery with the COVID and everything.
Right.
Say with the kids, we hug them in the back. That might be the only hug they get until they come next week.
Right. Right.
Everybody doesn't come from a affectionate home, so
Right.
we have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what do you think are steps to living a successful life or wanting to live that successful life?
Well, again, being a believer first and foremost, to acknowledge God and that He has a plan for your life. And with that acknowledgement, it comes with seeking that plan, coming into agreement and partnership with God. I think that's the first step. Second, I think, is the ability to imagine. The ability to imagine. I once heard a professional coach talking to a team, and then he was telling them, before you go out on that field, you have to imagine yourself catching that ball. You have to imagine yourself taking that, making that touchdown. And I heard that, and when I heard that, that stuck with me forever. I have to have the ability to let my mind see it. That way, I know I can do it. That third, I asked for the ability to recognize barriers. I need to know, because I was raised in the 50s. I was born in the 50s, right? I'm 66 years old. So I was born in 1955. So the mentality there, and my family and what have you, thought a certain way. So I'm sure I was shaped and formed to think a certain way. And a lot of them will be the way I've been trained to think could be roadblocks for me in this day and time in 21st, because everything was made safe. And then being the only girl, it was like so much protection around me. You weren't going to do this, that, and the other by yourself, and you weren't going to da. You know what I'm saying? It was going to be, it was so many things I wanted to experience that I didn't experience because of it. But anyway, my third step is to be intentional about replacing the roadblocks or practices that I may have with the effective practices that I should have. I need the third step to be a transformational step for me. Okay. And then my fourth, I continue to sharpen skills that I'm good at. And then I stay open to learning. I believe I'm supposed to continue to learn no matter what age. You're to continue to learn. And then fifth, I believe I've made conscious decisions to love my journey. I have decided Henrietta Telfair will love her journey. If I just look for the rival place, then what would have happened all the time it took to get to that place? So I want to enjoy my journey, knowing and expecting roadblocks, however, and challenges. But my mindset is, in everything, I will give thanks and appreciate my journey. So those are my steps for success.
Okay, and I wasn't trying to wipe you out. I don't know what kind of typing I was doing.
That's okay.
All right, that's good. And I like when you forget, my favorite was being what was an intentional learner, always
Yeah.
learning, because
Yeah.
lifelong learner. You can learn something every day. You're never too young to learn. You're never too old to learn. And just like we were talking about, parents not even being able to assist their children or grandchildren. I know, I think my grandson was like maybe in third or fourth grade, and he was trying to do it was a multiplication, and I was trying to show him. He's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What is that?" And
Not the way they teach it now.
I had to Google it. Now I said, "Oh, okay, I got it now. Now I can teach you." But I had to Google it first and then check it, figure it out. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you do. And not be afraid to learn something new. I mean, you have to really challenge yourself, And today is so much to learn, and things change so fast. Smartphones. These programs on the laptops and computers, things are just constantly changing, that we have to be, and you can stay up with what's going on. And learning is not always in a classroom, and that's what I have to tell my students.
All
You
right.
learn by observation all around you. You can
Yes.
learn good and you're gonna learn bad. You need to decide, what things you're gonna stay with and practice that's gonna make you a better person.
That's
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, learning is all around. Because I tell them, I get the word of the day. We're doing crossword puzzles, and I doing those, and I get the easy ones, but it'll come up, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that's what that word meant. And so you learn from doing those things. So people say, well, why do you always do that? Because I
Mhm.
learn words, I learn
Mhm.
different,
Yeah.
things that I didn't know. So
Expand yourself. Yeah.
got to keep
Mhm.
this focused.
Uh-huh. I know I once read an article how when we learn something new, we grow new dendrites.
Mm,
And these are just learning, I don't know what to call them, but whatever the case is, our brain expands with new knowledge. It helps also to deter dementia and the other things. So hey,
right.
I love the idea of just learning new stuff
Yep, that's right.
until you get it. Yeah.
Yep, you have to do it. Yeah. Okay, so can you please tell us some shortcuts that young people may uh, take that they will eventually regret? So some shortcuts they may say, "Oh, you know what? This is what I think I'm going to do," and then they come to regret it.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
it?
Well, in that situation, I know I've seen some who try to cheat on a test and assessment, instead
Right.
of studying. And instead of paying attention in class, some have decided that they would just use a cheat sheet or write it on their hand and what have you. And eventually you get a zero, of course. Yeah, just something as simple as that. But um, I frequently refer to the Word of God as my reference, but the Bible has been a guide for me for over 40 years. So I have found it to be the most concise book for life for anyone. So in Proverbs 15:22, this is what it says: without counselors, purposes are disappointed. Purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. For young people to stop listening to wise counsel,
Mm.
I believe, is a path of sure pitfalls. And I believe many of us have had a stage when mom and them have called us and told us, so you're smelling yourself, huh? That's what you're doing. Because you can get to that place where you believe, I got this, I can handle this. You don't have to tell me, and don't know nothing. Don't know much as we think we know. Yeah. So when we're being corrected and you think you know what the voice is trying to tell you, is getting on your nerves and what have you. And I'm talking about that voice of authority. I feel like that is the beginning of a spiral of downfalls of decisions after that, when you decided you're going to tune out counsel, knowledge,
Yeah.
experience in your face trying to tell you. I often use the example of being at the end of a cliff, and you see young people come speeding at the cliff, and you're waving your hand, hey, no, not this way, don't come this way. And they look at you and say, you don't know what you're talking about, and
Mm,
come speed past you anyway.
right.
But then you have those that'll slow up and stop and wonder, what is it you doing? Why are you here telling me? And you appreciate those who do stop and do listen. So not listening to anyone and only going to hear your own voice is one of the worst things, because you
Yes.
don't have the experience under your belt. So too many young people are conforming to fads. I they don't know their own strength and their own character, so they blend in to belong. They don't like being by themselves, and when being by yourself is not bad when you like yourself and when you know yourself. And so they're getting duped into groups that's not going anywhere and to belong. So you got to act out of character to be there among those who are making bad decisions. And many do not have role models, you know.
That's
They
right.
do not have or see positive mentors as one they could follow. So all of these can be a problem with pitfalls and not making right decisions to get where you really want to go in life. So we're looking at children now that we need to, and I think young adults now too, that we need to help not take the other path or the shortcuts.
All
And
right.
I think being repetitive is what we have to do these days. Keep telling them over and over again that no, you don't want to do this, and then give them alternatives. You know,
Right.
you don't want to do this, but how about you try this? You know, if you're able to persuade them at all, I would think giving alternatives and I don't say ultimatums, but I do say alternatives that
Right.
they may have an expanded thought about what they're about to do.
Right. I love that you say don't give them those ultimatums because when you do that, they're just gonna do it anyway. Don't
Yes,
tell
yeah,
me what to do. I'll show them.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Sad but true. You have to do it with kindness to try
Yeah,
to show them, and like you say, show them alternatives. I know before Christopher moved out, he was like, so I think I'm ready to buy me a condo. I said, well, that's good, son. He
yeah.
said, well, I was looking at my money and I'll be able to pay it. I can handle the monthly payments. I say, so you do know now, just listen, I'm not telling you not to. Say, but you do know when you have a condo, you have to pay HOA fees. And those can be $300, $400, $500 a month, not a
Mhm,
year, a month.
mhm,
Then you got to pay utilities. You have light bill and cable,
mhm,
water bill. You got to buy groceries, right? So
mhm,
before you do that, maybe you want to figure out how much that's going to cost.
mhm.
Try 4 or 5 months paying that when you don't have a condo and see what
Right,
happens.
right.
I see he didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much like the same conversations I'm having right now with my two oldest granddaughters. One is who's in her senior year at Georgia State, and now the other, which is 18 now, talking about going to UCLA or no Central or one of the colleges there in Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
and it's figuring out and having to help them to imagine the cost and what you have to do and the steps you need to take, which I'm proud of both of them, but yet they love to spend money. So we need to get that under wrap if you're going to do this when you get to where you're going. You saying
Right.
you want this, you saying you want that, yeah, which is also, I don't want to live on campus. I want my own apartment. That comes with responsibility.
Yes.
Yes, so it's all of that. I totally agree. Yeah, helping them to see the whole picture does help with decisions that should be made.
Yep. You got to figure it all.
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
Yep. All right. This has been wonderful. But as we close, can you provide some alternatives that people can follow to do things the right way and get the best results? So, kind of like the opposite.
Yeah, okay. Doing things the right way. Well, first and foremost, and again, everybody, I think to honestly ask him who created you, what are you here for? I think to get clarity as to why you exist in the first place. And once we start that path, then everything else becomes clearer. It doesn't show everything A to Z. But I'm telling you, having a spiritual cleansing and a mind made up, I want to live the life that God has for me.
Yes.
If you decide, make that first decision, then everything else becomes clear. When I say a path is crossed, we've already mentioned Jeremiah 29. I know the plan. That's God talking. I know the plan I have for you. And he said it's a plan of peace. It's a plan of prosperity. It's a plan for us to have a future. And if we get that straight, build it on that foundation. Because with that foundation comes everything else out of it. He promises prosperity out of obedience. So if he tells you the next thing to do is to go to school, go to school. If he tells you the next thing to do is to be consistent at working, do that. If he tells you, I mean, whatever, and I'm sure we all have habits that needs changing.
Definitely.
Sometimes we're held back by bad habits, dysfunctional cycles. Admit the truth to yourself. You know, as there's sometimes I've come to points where the Lord revealed things to me about me, and I'm like, for real? Is that why? That never changed. You know, our perspectives allow our perspectives to be influenced. You know, I think you were on, Coach Deborah. I think it was it Sunday's message, I believe, at St. Paul. And one of the thoughts that I still think about is how is it 95% of our thoughts are negative? It's something like that. It was a large percentage of our thoughts are negative. And then it was also stated, according to statistics, that we carry those same negative thoughts over the following day.
Wow.
So we are on a mission to convert our thoughts into scriptures. Now, and I think Joyce Myers have one. Think about what you're thinking about. It's a book called Think About What You're Thinking About. Mind, the battle of the mind. The battle of the mind. Think about what you're thinking about. That helps a lot being retrained in our thinking. That will help us with advancement. That would help us, what we say, with a permanent future and on a path, a promising path. A lot starts with just our inner persons first. So I believe that alternatives would be self-examination. Start there.
Good.
Decide that you're going to partner with the God that created you. And be open. Always be open. We mentioned it before, to learn. Learn about yourself. Learn about your relationships. And decide that you're going to make changes. And being consistent. Consistent and good stewardship.
Yes.
Over your time, your money, all of it. Being consistent, and you'll see how far you advance.
Most definitely. I love that word, be consistency. Because that consistency helps you to form habits.
Exactly.
Yes. Very good. This has been great. I enjoyed it, and I
did too.
Some great nuggets. So please, 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 everyone, share. Let people know that didn't see this. My videos never go down. They're always on YouTube and Facebook, so they can go back and look and see this, because this will help somebody. And that's what Build Your Best Life is all about, helping.
Yeah.
And I always say our young men, because young men is my passion. But what I teach here will help any age group. But
yeah,
my niche is just young men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much again. And please, 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 everyone, join us on Thursday, February 10th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our coffee chat with Deborah and Carol. We're going to be talking about decisions. So this kind of plays right into this. What your decisions do for you. You can make
Wow.
good decisions and bad decisions. And based on your decisions, what happens in your life. So you might
Yeah.
want to tune in.
Right.
Yes. And so, Henrietta, do you have something that you're doing on social media or anything that you want to tell people about before we leave?
Well, at the present on Tuesday mornings, I do host a prayer conference with women from different states and cities. And basically, we started, Coach Deborah, as a matter of fact, praying for boys that were incarcerated. So with that, it grew. It's been over 5 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Over 5 years now, where mothers, aunties, grandmas, cousins are all getting together to pray together for their homes, and then, but also we call out our boys. We write letters and cards to inspire them, and I love what you're doing because it does partner with what we're doing as well when it comes to just strengthening our males, and they need the prayers of mothers. So the conference call is called A Mother's Prayer.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do that every Tuesday morning, 6 a.m., and I post it on Facebook constantly, the contact. So at the moment, that is what I would like to share, or would like for others to know about, that they get free to join us anytime on Tuesdays from 6 a.m. to 6:30.
6 a.m. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got that 6 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. And if you go on Facebook, you will find that and you can join in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being on. So again, please visit us this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. for our coffee chat. And then, of course, I will be on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. But I do appreciate you taking your time to come on today. You know, your life is what you make it. Follow my basic principles if you want to change your life, but not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but now.
Mm-hmm.
Change your life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Stay warm and dry.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to see you on Thursday. And again, thank you, Sister Henrietta.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.